Welcome back, everyone. This is a video that I didn't think I was going to make, so I've already started it. But as you can see from the title, I have a 2014 Harley Davidson V-Rod Muscle. I bought this for my 50th birthday in what year was that? In 2014, obviously. So that was 12 years ago. So now I'm 62. But I have only had to change the battery. Well, this will be the third battery, I guess. And I figured I was just going to change it. And I said, well, let me show. I probably should show how to do it. A lot of people probably don't even know where the battery is. It's actually under the whole air box. This is not a fuel tank. The fuel tank on a V-Rod is actually under the seat right there. Right, Misty? So this is where the air box is. So it's tucked up in there, which makes it a little bit more difficult to do. But what I mainly wanted to show was which battery to use. So I've got it on, as any battery you want to put it on, you know, get it full charge before you install it. So that's ready to go. But here's a look at what battery is, power source. And this is the second one. I got almost 6 years out of the previous one, and that's pretty good for a battery, especially on a motorcycle battery, and it's got good cranking power, right, Misty? So I guess I will show how to put it back together, and then you could back up when you see how it goes together. You could run it in reverse, and then you can see how to take it apart. But I think the main thing is what battery to use. So let me get the rest of the stuff, and let's get it in. I'll switch over to a head cam. Oh, and one thing which I would have showed when I did it, and you'll see it when I take it apart, but you've got access into, you know, this, you've got both access in here, so you don't want to drop anything down into the engine, which that would not be good. And you'll see there's one part that is actually open where those butterflies are closed on the intake, but you still make sure you cover everything, because you do not want anything to fall in there. And actually I lied. They changed this, so they do not need a nut on the back side. Usually you always have to slide a nut in that opening right there. They usually make it with a flat spot on it so it doesn't turn, but you have to get it aligned, and it's always too far back. Well, this is threaded, so that is a good thing. That is a very good thing. So now, much easier. The wires are never long enough, but at least it will thread. Get everything turned in the right direction. And I'll show you. I like to spray these afterwards with brake with battery sealer. And always do the positive first, and make sure, you know, like I've got a power commander on here, so I've got extra. But if you have any lighting or anything where you've got extra wires that are connected to the positive, just make sure that you get them all hooked up. And then you want to do the negative, the ground second. Come on. Where are you going, Misty? Okay. Here's a can of battery terminal protector, technical term for it. This I've had for years and years and years, because you don't use very much of it. But you just give it a spray on the connections, let it dry, and that goes a long way. Just make sure you clear the tip afterwards. You turn it upside down and spray it so it cleans the tip. But I'm not going to spray it inside. All right, And then one of the harder things to do is to get the strap on the battery back that holds it in. But if you pull it from down here, yeah, you can get it with your fingers, because you cannot get your fingers at the actual clasp right there. And make sure you don't put it over the ground wire. Make sure it's underneath. All right, so now this is where we got to put back this snout. So I put everything out of the way, which is here. And it's pretty self-explanatory as to which one goes which. There are two different heights. One is taller, and the taller one goes in the front. All right, so here's the part where I was saying that you got to make sure you cover this, because that goes right in. This is a breather tube right there for this airbox assembly. So that just gets pushed down in there. And what you've got to do is get this hose through the hose in there. I mean, that hole right there, like that. And you'll feel when it gets all the way down. So that's in there. And now you'll see these are size appropriate. So the taller one goes in the front, and this is a 5mm Allen. You cannot use a socket on these because there is not enough room. Misty, get down. That's great. Let's walk on the paint. Let's walk on the paint. I mean, come on. I said, get them started so that you know they're all, it's got good threading on it. You can feel them. There's not really a chance of cross threading it, but you just want to make sure that it's seated in the right position. This is the hardest one. Well, not that it's hard, but harder. So this is snugging up against the intake as well, and you're pushing down this box, which is sealing around the gasket, which you probably can't really see. And the shorter one in the back. You can't hook up the vent tube for this one until you get it in, so don't put it ahead of time. Otherwise, you will not be able to get at two of the Allens. All right, so now the vent tube right back on like that. So that's all set. And these were additions that I made. I cut all these holes, give it more airflow. It doesn't come like that. Air cleaner, cover. You just got to get it lined up. And this is a K&N. This isn't the filter that came on it either. Just make sure it's in there crank it down. And then here's the actual cover. So you have to make sure you leave the room for this, because this is where the air comes in, obviously, from the front. So you got to make sure to leave space like that. And they're just snap covers, which I don't like, because they don't like to snap. This is the hardest part, I find, of the whole process. There's always something in the way, or it doesn't want to align because it's plastic. And it should sound like that when it snaps. And here is this connection, where is my parts tray, right here. This has a little clip, if you can see it. It's a little retainer clip. So this gets pushed in like that, and then the retainer clip gets pushed down like so. So that doesn't come out now. And the only one that always seems to be unclipped is the back one. It never seems, every time, there we go. But I guarantee you, in 5 years or 6 years, when I have to replace this battery again, hopefully that long, that one will be undone. Don't know why, but it usually does. Okay, now for what people would call the gas tank, which is really the airbox cover that Misty just walked down and got all dirty after I just washed it. Don't like to do that, but alright, so for putting the airbox cover, gas tank looking piece, they've got two tabs, two like little protrusions that stick out, and they've got to go in there. Watch out, Misty. Don't even think about it. And again, it's always the hardest thing to do, is to get that aligned, especially when you got this camera on your head. So hopefully this will show this, you can see it. But that tab right there and that goes in like that. See this, then it won't move up when it goes. So you just got to go around, make sure the other side's on, which I did. So then you just tighten the quarter turn on the back one there. This is usually the fun part. Easier to take off than it is to put on. But these are the cowling covers that go on. So these go just like that. And these, again, I drilled out because they do not come, so no air went through these. So this was actually a modification that I did way back when. So this one, again, is not the easiest to do, because you can't see what you're doing. And again, you want to get these started with your fingers and get them all, because otherwise they will not want to go. And obviously you have to crank the handlebars over in order to get at this side. And I usually always put the bolts back in the same hole. Just, I don't know, I'm a little OCD when it comes to that. I align them in the tray the way they go. I know it doesn't make any difference, but I feel that the bolt has a little kinship with the hole that it's been in for all those years. Call me crazy, I guess, which it is, but that's what I do. And these have a little bit of a rubber grommet on them. Almost could use to change these. They you know, they don't use the best screws. I know everything is a matte finish, it's not chrome, but it doesn't really, these screws don't have a good finish on them, and they never did. I don't even have 5,000 miles on this, so it hasn't. And then again, this is how it flops down like that. So now we got to move that over like that to get at this side. Maybe you can see this side a little bit better, so you can see where they attach. And there's a little clip down here, but it doesn't really, it just kind of goes in. You don't really have to do anything with it. Well, you kind of have to do something with it. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little tab right there. I should have showed it on the other side, but you wouldn't be able to see it. So you've got to get the bottom of that tab aligned. That holds the bottom. All right, it's all back together. I got the battery tender. I have it, you know, because the battery's in the front right there, so I've got it right here, so it's never in the way, it's never hanging down. You don't have to do anything with it. I put the cap in it if you want, but other than that, you don't have to do anything. So I haven't started this, I don't know, probably 5 months. I don't know, time goes so fast. Let's give it the first start. Not too bad. Not too bad for not starting all that time. I love this bike. That's a Porsche designed motor. And never had a problem with it. Like I said, it doesn't have that many miles on it, but it's already 12 years old. Good for another 5 or 6 years. Fingers crossed. All right, here we are in the video, so you can see what it looks like. That's Miss Wenderful's bike. That's David's bike. I think a lot of you have seen it before. That's a 99 800 Kawasaki. It looks brand new. Yeah. So there they are. For another 14, that's a 2011 Voyager, and that's a 2006. So this is a 2014 V-Rod Muscle in the orange, I forget what they call it, orange flame, whatever. Very fast, sucks fuel down. It's got a 6-gallon tank, and you can empty it pretty quickly. What have I done to it? I don't know. I changed the water tank cover. I think that was the only thing I changed there. I told you the exhaust is totally redone. I pulled it apart and put in Vance & Hines guts into it. But I like the look of the Muscle. I didn't want to change them because it's dual exhaust, and it's true dual exhaust, so it's nice. Yeah, I think that's probably, and like I said, you saw the modifications I did. Put the K&N air filter in it, cut the holes in the Darth Vader mask, and also around in the air plenum box. So it's playing fast, and I like this. I like this bike. So hopefully that's helpful for you. Any questions, let me know. I know there's not too many people that have them anymore, but there's not a lot of videos, and I thought that showing what battery, and again, it was actually 5 years. I just checked it. It was almost 5 years to the day that I changed it. So like I said, I'll put a link to that battery on there. I got it on Amazon. But it is a good battery, and like I said, I was wrong. The old one had the threads on it too. That I remember, that was one thing I liked that you didn't need to put the nut behind, try to get the nut in there while you're trying to put everything together, which is like a nightmare. If you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.